Hey Cancer, this is your look at the astrology of May 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman and this is Empowering Astrology. So let's look at this month for you. So it's Taurus season for most of May, and Taurus season for you means that it's time to focus on friends, community, social networks, and social interaction. I know it's been sort of a funny year for social interaction, so maybe it's like your friendly reminder to check up on your friends and see how they're doing after this kind of crazy year that we've been in. But it also touches on a bigger story in your life where you are reinventing friendship, you're reinventing social connection, and maybe the friends that you had, let's say in 2019, are not the friends that you have now. And not to touch on a sore spot, but I think there's this moment in your life that's going to kind of take you over the next few years where it's like, well, who is your tribe? Who are your people? Who's going to be part of your life during this very new chapter? Maybe not just in your life, but in the chapter of everybody's lives. We're in a new time right now, and we need allies, and we need community, and we need support. And maybe there's needed to be more of an ideological or philosophical shift in the people in your life right now, or you need the people in your life right now to be rock solid, even as everything is shifting and moving. I will also add, Cancer, that you've got a lot of energy this month. You've got Mars all month long in Cancer. Now, Cancer is a water sign, and traditionally Mars is not in home in Cancer, but it just means that you as a Cancer, this sign that is known for its emotional needs and emotional, the needs to actually care for other people as well as yourself, but maybe you're feeling a little fired up this month. So maybe if you're feeling a little emotional, if things are coming out, if you're talking to friends and loved ones, or actually making some changes in your professional life, don't be surprised. But like I said, it's Taurus season, so it's time for you to connect with friends, community, and to make sure that these people are rock solid in your life. So as we start the month, we've got a couple of planets, sort of one after the other, leaving Taurus and going into Gemini. It's sort of showing us that we are on the cusp of Gemini season this month. So first, starting with Mercury. Mercury is going to go into Gemini on May 3rd. And Gemini for you is what's called your last sign. And when planets start to dip into that part of the chart, it's a need to reflect. It's a need to find answers deep within. You're sort of coming to the end of this great journey. Yes, I mean, Gemini season, I know we're not quite there yet, is the season that comes before Cancer season. So you're sort of coming to the end of your personal year, your birthday year, and maybe you're in a reflective mood. With Mercury there, and then later Venus on May 8th, it's time to search within. It's time to look for answers, meditate, retreat, rest, reflect, and also shed the past. And maybe there are things that you've been holding on to, including old friendships or even old emotions, because maybe things about family or your emotional needs are kind of coming up really strongly at this time. But there's a couple of big things that are happening in May. And, yes, Taurus season sets the stage, but first it's sorry, don't get ahead of myself, but there's a Taurus new moon on May 11th. So that Taurus new moon, again, is highlighting this whole conversation about friends and community and relationships in general, and what the type of people you want in your life at this time. Now is the point that I want to make. So a couple days later, on May 13th, Jupiter changes signs. It's Jupiter changing signs, Saturn turning direction, and a lunar eclipse at the end of the month. These are the three big things in May that are saying to everybody that things are shifting and moving in May, and even into June as well. We'll first start with Jupiter. So Jupiter, it spends about a year in each sign. And if you've been really paying close attention to your astrology, like, wait a second, didn't Jupiter just change signs? It hasn't been a year. No, it hasn't. Jupiter went into Aquarius back on December 20th of 2020, but it sort of starts to move fast in this part of the zodiac for astronomical reasons that are a whole other conversation. But Jupiter will dip into Pisces on May 13th. It dips out of Pisces, going back to Aquarius on July 28th. So this is a little bit of a preview. Now for you, Cancer, Jupiter is a planet that talks about health and wellness for you. It also talks about your beliefs. It talks about education. And Jupiter going into Pisces means that you're sort of entering this period of time where it is about the world around you. It's a time to focus on your education, maybe even go back to school, or maybe think about your larger educational goals and needs at this time. And I know that travel's a little screwy at the moment, but Pisces is one of your travel signs. And in normal times, I would just say pack your bags. It's time to go on a great journey. It's time to see the world. And I don't know, maybe that's possible a little bit depending on where you're at, but this is also a time to do that in other ways. This is a time for you to sort of look outwardly, to figure out what you believe in, what's your faith, what's your truth, what's your conviction, and start to contemplate these bigger questions. Now, again, Taurus season, it is talking about your community and your friendships, and then we go into Gemini, and then sort of this need to reflect and rest. So I think that as you get into the second half of May, maybe you're starting to ask yourself deeper existential questions. What does this all mean? Where am I going? I've been stuck in my home for a year. What do I want my life to look like in the coming birthday season? So these are some of the things that are weighing on you this month, Cancer. So we have Jupiter changing signs. And then Jupiter changing signs sort of precedes some of the eclipse energy we're going to have at the end of the month. Maybe we're starting to really feel some bumps and moves, because that's what eclipses do. They sort of usher in this new 6-month chapter, and sometimes they do it very quickly. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was Saturn turning retrograde. So Saturn, I talked about this, I think, in the last month's horoscope. So here's the bigger picture. Saturn has been in Aquarius since December 17th of 2020. It'll be in Aquarius until March of 2023. I know that's a couple years from now. During this time, Cancer, you have to really examine your vulnerability. How do you let people in? How do you work on yourself? How do you dig into the deeper parts of you? So this is a time when, maybe you've already been feeling this the past few months, like you've had to really dig into yourself, face yourself. Maybe you're working with a therapist, maybe you're working with a different type of facilitator or a counselor, but this is a time when you need somebody to hold your hand a little bit, because you're really having to do a lot of deep emotional digging at this time. A lot of themes around money, power, control, intimacy, vulnerability, even sexuality. So with Saturn turning retrograde on May 23rd at 13 degrees of Aquarius, it's sort of this page turn in a story that's been going on since December. To be fair, we did have a little bit of a Saturn dip into Aquarius from end of March of 2020 until July 1st of 2020. That was your little preview. That was telling you you're going to have to really do some deep emotional digging in the coming months and years. So I would use Saturn retrograde as a time to really recommit to your emotional health, recommit to your mental health, reach out to a counselor, reach out to a trusted friend or advisor, and make sure you have the emotional support right now. If you have not been dealing with certain things from the past, things that have just been accumulating emotionally and psychically, Saturn retrograde might bring them to your attention. The goal about this time is for, until 2023, that you do a lot of emotional growing up. it's sort of your time in your personal calendar, Cancer, for you to do this. And to be honest, if I'm saying this as a Scorpio, it's a little unavoidable at the moment. So the more that you are proactive, the more that you are healthy about the needs and wants of Saturn at the moment, I think it's going to be a little bit more of an easy time for you, Cancer. And I know you feel things very deeply, and there's probably lots of deep and powerful emotions coming up at this time. And things need to be addressed, things need to be healed, things need to be let go of, which is a reminder for Gemini season, because come May 20th, it's officially Gemini season. And again, Gemini, your last sign, time to go within, time to rest, time to reflect, time to really figure out what this all means the best that you can. But then here's the last big thing about this month, and we do have a full moon on May 26th, and this full moon is also a lunar eclipse, and it puts a spotlight on your sign of health and wellness. And this full moon might bring some decisions on how to take care of yourself, take care of your physical body, even though we have Saturn in the other part of your chart that's talking about taking care of your emotional and psychic body. But this full moon is sort of demanding that you take your physical health seriously, that you sort of, I mean, of course, I'm not a doctor, like maybe make some appointments, make some positive changes in your diet, your health routines. And also this is a full moon where it's sort of like you need to get your life organized. Maybe you need, a new philosophy or a new way of seeing things, because Jupiter has just, as of the time of this lunar eclipse, Jupiter has just changed signs. It's now in Pisces. But eclipse energy shakes things up. It wants you to make positive and healthy changes in how you take care of yourself, body, mind, and soul. So if you've been trying to kick a habit or an addiction, these are some really powerfully placed, powerfully timed new moons on the 11th of May, and then full moon on the 26th of May. That said, we sort of close out the month with Mercury retrograde. Mercury turns retrograde at 24 degrees of Gemini. Again, it's digging into those deeper parts of you. What does this mean? Who am I? Where am I going? All these sort of questions that are bubbling up inside of you. I think with that Mercury retrograde, it's a time to really listen to your inner intuition, especially if you've been ignoring it, and try to recalibrate your true north and where, what's right for you and what's wrong for you, and make the right decisions accordingly. Also pay attention to your dreams around the time of this Mercury retrograde. Maybe you're getting some intuitive or psychic information. So that is your look at the astrology of May 2021. Thanks for joining me again, Gemini, for another look at your astrology. Again, my name is Katie Sweetman. I'm an astrologer and psychic medium here in Brooklyn, New York, and you can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. I am on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Sign up for my newsletter, or you can book a consultation with me, and of course subscribe to this YouTube channel. So until next week, I'll see you then. Bye.